5 minutes till the top of the hour. A reminder, the news doesn't end here. Here's what's coming up on WCNC Plus at 7 a.m. Today marks 2 months since that deadly light rail stabbing.
Republican leaders calling out city leaders here in Charlotte, saying that they need to do more to keep people safe, not just on the light rail, but all around the city.
Tonight, Catawba County moves closer to merging 3 school districts into one. Why some superintendents warn the move could cost you millions.
More pushback over a Republican-led plan to redraw North Carolina's congressional maps.
You're trying to dismantle the district with the largest record of black congressional leadership in North Carolina history. And that's just not right.
The fierce response in Raleigh as maps move closer to final approval.
And fog is a fall staple here in the Carolinas.
We'll tell you what causes it and why this time of year is prime for those misty mornings. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up at 7 a.m. on WCNC Plus.
Let's take a quick check at those drive times as you're heading out the door. We're at 42 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia, just over 50 if you're making that commute from Salisbury. Otherwise, things are starting to get quite busy. I do want to let you know about this area right here. Now, a serious accident on Tyvola Road, north at Nations Ford Road, so it is completely blocked. This is I-77 near Tyvola. You can see traffic is just flowing quite heavy at this time. Chris?
Okay. This is a lot of information all at once, but I want you to focus in on the left side of your screen. That's where you have the sunniest part of the forecast and the warmest part. And if you look over to the right, that's where all the rain and the cooler temperatures are. That's all you need to know. So enjoy the sunnier and warmer days while we have it, but then boy, does it really start to feel a little bit more like late October heading into November. And what do you know? That's exactly what time of year it is.
Well, you know what? We need the rain.
We do,
Yes.
so this is good.
We just don't need it on Halloween.
Yeah, and as of right now, it's okay.
One word. All right. Join us over on streaming at 7 a.m. WCNC Plus. Streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Autumn Bracey in for Lisa Washington. Today marks 60 days since the tragic stabbing of Irina Zarutska on Charlotte's light rail. Now Republican leaders in the city are demanding more accountability on what they are calling a public safety crisis.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live along the light rail in South End, explaining what changes they are hoping to see. Richard.
Yeah, they're saying they need to see changes not just to the light rail, but to every part of Charlotte, they say, because the public safety issue is one that is affecting this entire city. That's why they're holding this news conference today. It's been 2 months since the stabbing death of 23-year-old Irina Zarutska on aboard Charlotte's light rail. And today, local Republican leaders are demanding answers from city officials about what they call a growing public safety crisis. They are holding a news conference today at the Government Center that's in uptown Charlotte. This marks 60 days since the murder of the 23-year-old Zarutska. Party leaders and community advocates will stand together again, as they did just last month, to call for accountability from city leaders. They want tougher action to fight violent crime. They point to what they describe as a wave of violence across the Queen City, including the recent death of 4-year-old Jace Edwards, who was shot and killed as he slept in his Still Creek home. The group wants more support for CMPD, stricter prosecution for violent offenders, and a review of justice reforms they believe have made the city, they say, less safe. They also plan to emphasize that victims of violence come from all parts of Charlotte, saying public safety should be a right for everyone, regardless of what neighborhood they live in or what background they come from.
For accountability in local government, we need to be looking at how magistrates are appointed and what kind of accountability they have for allowing violent criminals back on the street.
They're weak on crime policies. Their open door and revolving door policies in our criminal justice system and jails have allowed murderers back on the streets time and time again.
And that all those statements were made at the last public meeting they had. We'll hear more of, again, what they have to say and ideas that they say that they plan, that they want the city to undertake, which would make the city a safer place. We'll be at that news conference. We'll have details of what they say throughout the day. Of course, we'll have all that information inside our mobile app. We're right here in the south end of Charlotte. Richard Devane, we'll send it back to you.
Hard to believe it's been 2 months, but I feel like the city has changed in that time, and that her death has really changed the conversation here, hopefully for the better. Richard Devane reporting live for us there in South End. Richard, thank you, sir. 7:03 now. Turning back to your forecast on what is the warmest morning of the week.
Yeah, it feels great, seriously, and we are expecting about a 10-degree drop going forward for many of our lows, depending where you are. But we have officially dropped down into the upper 40s, but this still is the warmest morning that we have going forward. We've been hanging out in the 50s for the most part, and this is our absolute low since the sun is rising up around 7:30. This is the time that we typically hit our bottom, still cool off about 1 more degree, but then an hour from now, we're gonna be on the up and up. So we're actually looking at 19 degrees of a bigger warm up around Morganton and an 11-degree difference right around the Boone area, and it's 17 degrees warmer for you in Shelby. And we're also looking around 12 degrees warmer around Wadesboro. So in general, the word of the morning is warmer. 73 degrees though, that is technically cooler than what we had yesterday. Yesterday we got up to 79. Wall-to-wall sunshine and no big changes. Yesterday was also on the breezier side. Yesterday, we also had clouds that increased throughout the day. Today, just pretty much spotless skies, complete blue skies should be actually great. And great for game time. Right around 5 p.m. For the Hornets game, maybe you're going to be around Uptown. It's 70 degrees. We'll be in the 60s as you're entering the Spectrum Center. Getting out of the game, likely in the mid to the upper 50s at that point with a light breeze. So just dress accordingly, especially once that sun sets. Don't have that sunshine making you feel about 10 degrees warmer. What you're looking at right now is our futurecast. If you look in the upper right, the numbers are moving. There's the clouds. It's really not until about Friday that you see some upper level clouds, but not until Saturday that you start to see those clouds that take up a good chunk of our sky. So all in all, wall-to-wall sunshine over the next few days. Our forecast tonight, though, we're back to a little bit of the cooler side. 44 degrees right around Charlotte, 42 in Hickory, and back to the 30s up in the high country. And the winds will be fairly light, so that's going to maximize our cool down. Where you can see that bottom, check it out, 42, 41, 42. And then we're back to the upper 40s, pretty much where we're at right now, until we're back to around 40 degrees. And our high temperatures really tell a story. The lower to the mid 70s that we have over the next couple of days will soon become a rarity. Then the 60s take over, and then even the lower 60s. Where note, you might say, oh, Tuesday we're in the 60s. No. You're going to touch 60 degrees for less than an hour. That means most of your Tuesday, most of your Wednesday, and next Thursday are going to be in the 50s, just barely making it into the lower 60s. But the good news is our rainfall chances are actually trending in a really good direction, where our best chance for rain is Tuesday, Wednesday, and next Thursday, but not affecting Halloween. I'll have a little bit more on this rain and a lot more coming up. But first, our first check of traffic here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you're off to a great start to your day. It is your Wednesday, and here's some of those drive times. Early this morning, gearing up to maybe head off to work. Maybe you're waking up the kids, getting them to school this morning. About 24 minutes if you're coming in from Matthews, and if you're coming in from Gastonia, right around 45. So plan accordingly. Starting to see some busier area roadways as it's now 7:06. Here's a big picture perspective, still saying all clear skies. A beautiful start to the day. However, we are still following this. This is a serious accident now on Tyvola Road, north at Nations Ford Road. This purple indicates that the road is completely blocked right there as they're trying to clear that serious accident. It's not on I-77, it's just west of it, again on Tyvola Road. We'll keep a close eye on that for you. But I do want to show you I-77. This is I-77 right around exit 5 here. You can see traffic. It is busy this morning, so nothing we're not used to this time of the day. There's a look at my map. We're also following an accident north of Charlotte. This is something to keep in mind. I'm not saying significant delays, but never a good thing when we have any accidents, bottom line. We have a lane blocked because of it. It's going to be out there on Twin Brooks Drive. We'll have another update coming up for you here shortly.
A North Carolina congressman is now speaking out against the state's redistricting plan. The Republicans moved to redraw congressional districts Tuesday, potentially shifting North Carolina to 11 Republicans and 3 Democrats in the U.S. House. District 1, held by Democrat Don Davis, would lean more Republican. Republicans only need a simple majority in Raleigh to redraw these maps, which they've done, and the governor can't veto it. Last night, Congresswoman Alma Adams and others spoke out.
So you're not just targeting a Democratic member, that's obvious, and he is black, you must know that. You're trying to dismantle the district with the largest record of black congressional leadership in North Carolina history. And that's just not right.
If approved, this would go into effect for the midterm elections next year. The government shutdown now drags into week 4, making it the second longest in U.S. history. Up next, how communities are coming together to support their neighbors through the financial strain. Approaching 7-Eleven right now on WCNC Plus. The government shutdown now entering week 4, making it the second longest in U.S. history. Both sides, though, digging in, with President Trump inviting nearly all Republican senators to the White House to thank them for supporting his agenda.
But caught in the middle are those federal workers. NBC's Alice Barr has warned how communities are stepping up to help their neighbors through these tough economic times.
Mr. President, I've come to the Senate floor tonight.
On the Senate floor, an all-night speech on ending the government shutdown and protesting President Trump's policies from Oregon Democrat Jeff Merkley.
Now, it is our United States Constitution and our freedoms that are under attack by the President of the United States.
That as top congressional Democrats are demanding a meeting with the president to negotiate an end to the shutdown that addresses a looming spike in health care premiums for millions of Americans.
The president should meet with us. It's not me, him, or anything political. It's that the people are in crisis.
I will only meet if they let the country open. They have to let the country open.
President Trump met Tuesday with Senate Republicans united in their stance that only Democrats can end the shutdown by signing on to a short-term funding bill that's now failed 11 times.
We are going to keep voting to open up the government, and eventually the Democrats, hopefully sooner or later, are going to come around.
Lawmakers acknowledging even informal bipartisan talks have stopped.
Because there can't be another conversation that continues until we open the government.
Amid the stalemate, real pain for American families. With federal workers missing paychecks, demand is surging at food banks across the country. And now low-income SNAP food benefits are in jeopardy, with funding running out November 1st.
If those SNAP dollars get cut in half, that would mean that a local food center, food bank would have to quadruple their output just to meet that need.
A growing crisis with no end in sight. That same November 1 deadline when benefits like SNAP face losing funding, open enrollment for Obamacare kicks off. That's when Democrats expect the pressure to mount as Americans get a look at soaring premiums. Republicans maintain they'll have those discussions before subsidies expire, as long as the government's reopened. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
This morning, Vice President J.D. Vance is in Israel working to keep that peace between Israel and Hamas. It comes as both sides accuse each other of violating the truce. Just yesterday, Vance spoke at a news conference and accused American media of overreacting to recent setbacks. He says he's still optimistic and warned that if Hamas breaks the deal, there will be consequences.
Terms of the 20-point plan that the president put out there is very clear. It's supported not just by Israel, but by all of our Gulf Arab friends. It's that Hamas has to disarm. It's that Hamas has to actually behave itself, and that Hamas, while all the fighters can be given some sort of clemency, they're not going to be able to kill each other, and they're not going to be able to kill their fellow Palestinians. Now, again, that's going to take a little bit of time. We're talking about how to set up the security and humanitarian apparatus to put all this in place. But right now, where I stand, I feel confident that we're going to be in a place where this peace lasts, where it's durable. And if Hamas doesn't cooperate, then as the President of the United States has said, Hamas is going to be obliterated. What we've seen the past week gives me great optimism the ceasefire is going to hold. And if we get from where we were a week ago to a long-term, durable peace between Israel and Gaza, there are going to be hills and valleys. There are going to be moments where it looks like things aren't going particularly well. But given that, and given the history of conflict, I think that everybody should be proud of where we are today. Look, right now, I feel very optimistic. Can I say with 100% certainty that it's going to work? No. But you don't do difficult things by only doing what's 100% certain. You do difficult things by trying, and that's what the President of the United States has asked us to do.
Vance is expected to stay in Israel until tomorrow. He also said that no American troops will be sent into Gaza.
When we come back, we're going to have another look at your weather and traffic. Stay with us on WCNC Plus. Well, winter is still a couple of months away, but some folks might need extra warm coats and blankets this year. AccuWeather forecasters say the season could bring intense winter storms to several regions, especially the Midwest and Northeast. Cities like Boston and Philadelphia are expected to see more snow than usual, and in the Southeast, it's a different story. Temperatures could hit record level highs. And while the winter season officially begins December 21st, the meteorological winter begins December 1st. Chris.
All right, Chris.
All right, so I wanted to really show you exactly why they're all saying this. So first off, here is the 2025-2026 winter outlook, and this is for December through February. And this is all based pretty much on the Enzo cycle, and we're going to explain all of the above. So as of right now, the Climate Prediction Center has us having a decent shot, so an above average chance that we're going to have above average temperatures during the dead of winter. Now, the dead of winter, typically we average a low about freezing and a high about 52, which really isn't too bad compared to some of our friends off towards the north. And then meanwhile, we're also trending to be on the drier side of things. This doesn't mean you're not going to see any snow. It just means in general, most likely a below average season, which has been the trend in general. Each decade, we're getting less and less snow just because things are warming up and it's less favorable. But all it takes is one big one. The patterns that we've been having with the nor'easters moving through that coastal low, if that happens, yeah, we can see a big time snow. So here's the La Nina pattern. Here's what sets up. All because of the cooler ocean waters right around the equator over in the Pacific, just west of South America, allows for what's called the Pacific jet and the polar jet to come and meet. And that actually is going to allow for a lot more moisture and a lot more rain and snow happening right through this section. And also in this area has a good risk for ice storms, so not a good scenario that we're seeing there. Meanwhile, it's warm and dry that's the further south you go. The opposite, whenever there's an El Nino, that actually usually leads to a little bit more of a cooler and wetter pattern for us and has historically given us some of our worst snow seasons in general. But I want to show you a little bit more detail here. First off, it gets a little bit more complicated. The Enzo cycle, which is just the El Nino Southern Oscillation cycle, is very complicated. But the most simplistic way I can tell you is that it's all based on a 3-month average. Once this number gets to 0.5 degrees Celsius, below zero, so that's negative 0.5, then we're officially in La Nina. So right now we're technically in La Nada, but everything is trending this direction. So it will be a La Nina setup for once we head into the winter. But what does that look like? Well, the last La Ninas that we had was 2021 and 2022. We had 4.3 inches of snow. But as you can see, things fluctuate. It's usually around that not too much at all to 4 inches, 3 inches, a trace to 6 inches. If you look at some of the El Nino numbers, that's where we've had some of our big boomers, such as the ones that have been feet of snow, even a given day, or seeing a couple of feet during the entirety of the snow season. So what this is really saying, all this data, is that in general, when you have La Nina, it's usually on your side to have less snow. That's not great for the snow lovers, but I always say it, just like a hurricane season, it always takes just one for that setup. So La Nina will be in our favor, and that's why things are trending that way. However, I think some areas, especially in the Midwest, are going to get slammed. A bunch of Alberta Clipper systems just in general. Now, for a little bit of our forecast, nothing winter-like, thank goodness, but it is definitely going to be on the cooler side overall. I am trending temperatures to be in the lower to the mid-70s today. We are calling for that general range to really be the top over the next 10 days or so. Here it is, 73 degrees for a high right around Charlotte, 71 in Salisbury, and 56 degrees in Boone. And then the lower 70s for tomorrow, same thing for Friday. After that, we are seeing a big downturn that you're not really going to be visiting this range. Instead, check this out. Our 10-day forecast is going to be shooting straight down. It's not often that you see that. Usually it's a bunch of swings. Now, this is really just October taking over. We also have really a persistent wind out of the west and northwest, which is blowing in cooler air each and every day. So through the weekend, we have the mid to the upper 60s. Our first weekend in the 60s we've had in quite some time. And then the lower 60s next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But that's also the time frame that we're going to see a big increase as far as our rain chances go. Right now, it looks to be Tuesday night, through Wednesday into Thursday morning. It's going to have our best chance for more widespread rain. But a lot still could change there. But one thing I do want to make a focal point on is that it is going to be much chillier heading into your Halloween. Right now, it looks like trick-or-treating could be in the 50s. So maybe you want to plan accordingly. But also right now, rain is holding off to fall before Halloween. So keep your scary fingers crossed if you don't want that rain. But things are right now trending in a good direction, some decent timing overall, and I don't really expect that to change all that much. Let's see what changes we have for our morning commute, though, with Majestic.
All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get to it. I want to start in South Carolina. I want to show you some of those live traffic maps. This is I-77 in York County specifically. We know it gets busy at 727, and that's what we're mainly seeing. Thankfully, no accidents to report out that direction. A little closer to Uptown, this is going to be I-77 heading towards Uptown right around mile marker 5. So yes, a lot of people heading out the door. It is busy, but thankfully no significant crashes to report there. Here's my map. We have our typical delays now on I-85 and IS-77 specifically, and we do have a few accidents to let you know about. This one is our newest one. There's going to be a crash on West Boulevard southbound near I-485. We're starting to see some colors popping up here, which is not a good sign, meaning that cars are being impacted by that. This one has been ongoing for a while. Minimal impacts though. Lane currently blocked. It's out there at Twin Brook Drive. And then in addition to that, to the north, a newer crash, which this one could also cause some delays. A lane is blocked because of a crash. It's going to be on Old Statesfield Road, impacting both ways at Hendrick Way. I'm going to see if I can learn more about this one, and we'll give you another update coming up here in just a few.
The Mega Millions jackpot continues to climb, and as we speak, the prize sits at $680 million. It comes after no ticket matched all 6 numbers drawn last night. It's now the 9th largest jackpot in the game's history. And the jackpot was last won back in June when someone in Virginia won $348 million. Well, if you're feeling lucky, the next drawing is going to be on Friday.
We mentioned yesterday that somebody won $100,000 by asking ChatGPT.
Do we dare do it ourselves now?
Well, I would just say, if ChatGPT is really all that, then give me the billion-dollar numbers. Then I will be impressed.
Next update, maybe it'll do that.
It's hard to even imagine that really happens to people, because I've never met anyone who's actually like won big,
Yeah.
you know, at least not that I know of. And just imagine how their life changes so fast. It's hard to even really, truly imagine.
They say a lot of people don't even keep the money because I guess obviously they're not used to dealing with that much.
What are they doing with it? Giving it away?
A lot of their lives don't change for the better. Like if you read the stories of a lot of these people, a lot of them don't have good outcomes because they don't know what to do, and it changes their life drastically and the people around them. All right, live pictures right now out at the roads. Majestic, where is this at?
This is going to be on I-77, Tyvola.
All right, Majestic's going to have more coming up next on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, good morning. Right now, 49 degrees right around the Charlotte area, 51 for you in Monroe, and we're going to be warming up slowly, ever so slowly, as we are working our way through the day. But hey, it should be not too bad of a one. We are looking at temperatures to reach the lower 70s and a decent amount of sunshine. If you're heading out for this evening, temperatures down to about the mid-50s by about 11 p.m., but get ready for some chillier lows, to say the least. Check it out. We're back to 44 for a low right around sunrise tomorrow, then the lower 40s after that. So that's going to be really the continual trend. Well, there's a lot going on here on the 70 forecast. I think this is the most icons I've ever had. We have the Hornets home opener that's going on. We also have the Checkers. We have the 49ers, the Panthers. First playoff game for Charlotte FC, but as you can see, temperatures get cooler each and every day. Let's head over to Majestic for your morning commute.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. It's a beautiful start to the day. Temperatures aren't feeling too bad, and our drive times are just about spot on. If you're coming in from Salisbury, it's going to take you about 65 minutes, so you better get going. We have I-77 here in York County coming in from South Carolina, flowing all right. I-77 there at Tyvola, definitely jam-packed this morning. A few accidents. This one specifically has caught my attention. One lane is blocked because of a crash. This is going to be on West Boulevard, eastbound lanes at I-485. We'll have more on this coming up on WCNC Plus. See you there soon.
Well, good morning, and thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 7:30. I'm Autumn Bracey, in for Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. Thanks for streaming with us this morning. We start with a breaking news update this morning. A homicide investigation underway right now in Catawba County. Deputies tell us they were responding to a welfare check at a home on Swinging Bridge Road Tuesday. They say they discovered signs of foul play, but they didn't find anybody inside the home. Well, deputies say they later found a resident's body, but in Caldwell County. Police ask anybody with information on the case to call the number on your screen. Well, today the debate over merging Catawba County's 3 public school systems comes to Hickory.
County leaders say it's about planning for growth, but some districts argue this proposal overlooks real cost and changing enrollment trends. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning in Catawba County with more on the response to this plan. Destiny.
Yeah, this school merger debate is in Hickory tonight as Catawba County commissioners decide whether to combine its 3 school systems into one. Now, the county says that this is about growth and space, but 2 of the districts involved say there is more to the story. Now, Catawba County leaders say student numbers are climbing fast in Catawba County schools, while enrollment has been declining in Hickory City and Newton-Conover City schools. That's why commissioners are holding 4 community meetings this month to talk about school facilities and the possibility of a merger. But both city districts are pushing back. Hickory City Schools warns a merger could cost millions in technology upgrades, legal fees, and rebranding, and could reduce local control. Newton Conover says the county's enrollment data is outdated, pointing out its numbers have stabilized for 2 years in a row and are already ahead of long-term growth projections. Tonight's meeting on the issue runs from 6 to 8 tonight at the Hickory Metro Convention Center. It's the second of 4 county sessions meant to gather public input. The next meetings are on Thursday in Terrell and next Tuesday in Conover. Now, the county says that this is still early for them. They're just exploring options, and there's no official decision yet on whether the merger will move forward. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Catawba County.
So, Dusty, what are steps that Hickory and Newton Conover district leaders are taking as these merger talks continue?
Yeah, right now they are just releasing information to families, keeping them informed. Right now, you saw one of the flyers from Hickory City Schools. Newton Conover has a similar flyer on their page, just a sheet of information. They're sharing this information and also letting families know that they should show up to these meetings to make sure that their concerns and the way that it'll affect them will be well represented. And they're also telling them to talk to their neighbors about this, call county commissioners, contact them directly about their concerns. And we know also that district leaders say they're open to conversations about school capacity and growth. They just think there are solutions that don't need a merger to solve them.
All right, Destiny Richards reporting live for us there in Catawba County. Destiny, thank you. The Fort Mill School District taking steps. We'll have more on that coming up in just a minute. But first, here's Chris.
Well, weather IQ done by Majestic today was about how fog forms, but I don't have any good examples for you. But you can see the almost fog. So literally fog is just a cloud that touches the ground, but then a low-level stratus cloud can often fill in the valleys, and that's exactly what we're seeing here, over here in Louisville. This is absolutely gorgeous. You usually don't get to see some of these oranges here, but that's really looking off towards the east, towards where that front was. There's a little bit more moisture with it. That's why you see that beautiful sunrise, which officially is happening right now, really over this next minute. So a gorgeous shot there. Meanwhile, the sun up right here around Charlotte as well, within the next 2 minutes officially, and a clear sky. That's what we have. Carolina blues all day. Don't worry about it. This is the bottom, 42 degrees around Lincoln, 44 in around the Boone area, and then 49 degrees for you in Charlotte. So a nice little chilly start to the day. What's happening? What's up? We're looking at plenty of sunshine across the day. High temperatures only in the lower 70s. And what's interesting here is I still have our heat index numbers turned on here, so I have to switch this over. I need to turn these over to a blue color because that's technically a wind chill. We are dry enough now, and we're also going to have a passing breeze that 72 can still feel more like the upper 60s. So keep that in mind. The winds aren't out of the warmer direction like they were yesterday. It is almost like more of a chilly breeze. So if you were in the shade and not in direct sunshine, that's where it's going to start to feel cool, my friend. I want to show you something. This is what it looks like over the coming days for our rain chances. We are rain free officially through Sunday. Don't worry about it. We're perfectly fine. We're talking about pretty much a sunny to almost 100% sunshine scenario today and tomorrow. Upper level clouds on your Friday, and then on Saturday and Sunday we pick up a few more clouds. But our next rain chances has a couple of pulses that's going on here. Kind of complex meteorology with a bunch of systems kind of working together. This is our first round of rain that could be here as early as your late Sunday heading into Monday. So we have a surge of rain here. But what's happening with this complex setup for our chances for rain that's going in here is technically two systems. Number one, it's showing that you have this one low that kind of turns into a coastal low and then zooms back out to sea. And then you have a secondary low that starts to move in, and you might even have what is left over, at least what this model is showing, of Melissa starting to ride up the coast, which is just going to slingshot this out. But still, you're looking at a bunch of systems moving all over the place. So I just want you to block off mentally in your calendar that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all during that time frame, you could have some rain. Even Monday's in there as well, but more Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is some of the impacts of that, and then we start to dry out. But a system like that oftentimes will drag in cooler air from the north, and that's why we're steadily starting to cool down. Here's Tropical Storm Melissa. I'm going to have a lot more on Melissa and the impacts and the potential flooding we're going to see on this coming up here. And then the second time I'm talking about weather, as well as a look at the longer range forecast. But our 7-day forecast brought to us by the Jerry Hunt Super Center. A lot of icons on here, so I apologize for that, but we've got a lot of sports. Home opener for the Hornets, looking good. Checkers games, don't worry about that. And the Panthers game, I think it's going to be mostly cloudy skies, but for the first playoff game for Charlotte FC, they're not going to be canceling it, but you could have some rain, a cold rain, 60 degrees. So enjoy the first few days on the 7-day, because after that, it gets cooler each and every day for our highs. And then heading into the middle of next week, highs only around 60 degrees, certainly feeling more like late October into early November, but hey, it's appropriate for this time of year. Majestic, what's going on? What's appropriate for traffic this morning?
Well, it's busy, that's for sure. It's 7:37 if you're gearing up to head out the door, and we do have a handful of ongoing wrecks. Let's go through a few of them for you. I want to take you north of Charlotte. This is going to be an ongoing problem. Look at all of this red. This is on I-77, passing Troutman. One lane is blocked because of a crash on I-77. Again, southbound lanes just after exit 42. I'm going to keep my eye on this one because this is not a good sign. We typically see a lot of congestion on I-77, especially inbound this time of the day, but not good when we have one accident, but nonetheless, definitely not good when we have two. Another lane is blocked because of a crash. I-77 southbound, again, not too far away. Remember, exit 42. This one's at exit 35. So if you are traveling this morning on I-77 southbound, I do suggest taking a little bit of extra drive time to get to where you need to be on time. You can still pass through those crashes. Things are just getting a little jam-packed and congested. And then want to take you out to this one. It's been ongoing for a little while. One lane is currently blocked because of a crash. This time it's on West Boulevard eastbound at I-485. That's just south of Berry Hill there. And then finally a crash here. It's a new one as well. A crash on Quail Hollow Road. Northbound lane is going to be impacted here near Sharon Road. Lots going on for your Wednesday morning commute. Take it easy out there. We'll have another update coming up here shortly. Guys.
The Fort Mill School District is taking steps to reassure families about air quality. It comes after months of concerns with two schools sitting just miles from the Silfab solar plant.
Officials are now giving their first detailed look at the district's own testing results and its plans to keep students safe. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard has more on why officials are saying the air is safe.
Well, the district brought in Citadel EHS, an environmental health and safety firm, to conduct baseline testing on both school campuses. They say the results show both schools are safe and healthy for staff and students.
I'm here as a concerned parent and a resident of Fort Mill.
Dozens of parents listening closely, yearning for an answer to the question that's hung over this community for months. Is the air quality at their schools safe?
Please answer that question for me.
Fort Mill School District says
yes.
The district brought in Citadel EHS, an independent environmental health and safety firm, to test the air around Flint Hill Elementary and middle schools, both less than 2 miles from the Silfab solar plant.
We monitored air quality before and after school occupancy.
According to the district, their results showing the air is safe to breathe.
The monitoring confirmed the school's air quality is safe and healthy for the occupants, with no increased risk identified from the neighboring solar manufacturing facility.
While Citadel found no increased risk or impact from the neighboring manufacturing facility, not everyone left the meeting feeling relieved.
The core question goes back to zoning, and they don't want to answer questions about zoning.
I got time.
Dozens of folks still expressing their concerns.
Who is willing to take responsibility if the worst case scenario happens?
City leaders say the meeting was about transparency and facts, but for some families, it was about finding a peace of mind that still hasn't come.
We also didn't hear about any of the calibration of Silfab's emergency plans with the district. We could have a catastrophic event that we're not prepared for.
For now, officials say they have put together a plan to continue to monitor data, which also includes another round of sampling when Silfab starts up. Back to you.
Well, big news for Charlotte's job market. A major fintech company expanding here, bringing hundreds of high-paying jobs. The governor announcing SoFi Technologies will create over 200 new jobs and invest $3 million into Mecklenburg County. The company helps millions of users manage money, loans, and investments all in one app. Officials say the expansion really strengthens Charlotte's position as the nation's second largest banking hub, with new roles for loan officers, underwriters, and sales teams.
Well, coming up, OpenAI is shaping up the internet again, launching its own web browser. We're going to tell you why and when it's going to be available on your phone.
OpenAI is introducing its own web browser. That's right, it's called Atlas, and it just launched yesterday.
This puts the ChatGPT maker in direct competition with Google as more internet users rely on AI to answer their questions. The goal is to help OpenAI attract more users and generate more money through digital ads. OpenAI says ChatGPT already has over 800 million users, but many use it for free. So OpenAI wants to turn a profit. Atlas will soon be available on Windows computers, iPhones, and Android phones.
Well, a group of prominent figures, including Prince Harry and AI pioneer Jeffrey Hinton, calling for a ban on work that could lead to computer superintelligence. Tech executives define superintelligence as AI models that perform better than even the most expert humans. It's a stage of AI that they say could one day pose a real threat to all of us. They signed a statement which has more than 800 signatures against that technology.
And in the classroom, there's another rising concern, the use of cell phones. A new study published in the National Bureau of Economic Research looked at what happened when a Florida school district banned phones. It found unexcused absences dropped significantly and test scores improved in the second year. Meanwhile, in North Carolina, Governor Josh Stein signed a law back in July that restricted cell phone use in schools. It bans students from using their cell phones during instructional time.
I feel like that is now becoming an issue that almost has broad consensus. In a time where a lot of people disagree about a lot of different things, getting cell phones out of the classroom is now, I think, sort of agreed upon among most people.
I think so too. I do hear parents say that they like their kids having their phone accessible though. Yeah. So then there's that other part. But like bottom line, if you're trying to learn, the cell phone in most cases probably is not the best case scenario, because even when you have technology, there's notifications coming in. You want to get on Instagram. You're not really focusing on what you need to be doing.
And of course, AI and ChatGPT, now that's a factor. That wasn't a thing when we were in school. So yeah, that changes the game.
All right, we'll be back after this with another check of your forecast and traffic. We continue to track Tropical Storm Melissa as it forms in the Caribbean. Right now, it's moving towards Jamaica and Haiti.
Melissa is expected to bring some heavy rainfall to both Haiti and the Dominican Republic through Friday. Flash flooding and mudslides are also possible. The storm is forecast to become a hurricane by Saturday morning. Hurricane season typically peaks around mid-September.
All right, 7:48 right now. Turning back to Chris. And Chris, we have a few more weeks left of hurricane season. Is that right?
Yeah, and this is actually a big concern for this system because sometimes I think we underestimate the term tropical storm. Oh, it's just a tropical storm. Well, there's been a lot of tropical storms throughout history that have actually been retired because of the rainfall that they promote. And the worst thing you can ever see is whenever you're looking at a tropical track is instead of seeing a cone, you just see a big circle because that means that it pretty much is just dancing around one center point. And I'm going to show you that worst case scenario. So check this out. 50-mile-per-hour sustained winds right now with this beast. This is a monster. One thing, if you look really closely, see that little jetting out of the satellite imagery? That shows that this is growing in the vertical. So this is getting stronger. So likely it's going to be right around here that we're going to start to see an eye wall form because this will soon become Hurricane Melissa and even turn into a Category 2. So even though it is not set to make landfall in the United States at this point, this is a big deal for the Caribbean. Check this out. This is what I'm talking about. See how the cone slowly turns into a circle? What this is representing is, look at the time frame. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. This is a slow mover where Melissa screeches on the brakes and doesn't technically make landfall. So the strongest winds will be offshore. So you're dealing with tropical storm force winds pretty continuously, really focusing in here on Jamaica. But this is a wide span of potential rain that we're going to see here. And the longer range models are showing that this is going to loop back and then head back towards Hispaniola. But a tremendous amount of rain is going to fall with this system. So that's my biggest concern that I'm seeing here. So here is rain through October 30th. This doesn't show the exact timing, but shows everything filling in. This is potential, and anything in that bright yellow represents a chance of up to 15 inches of rain in parts of eastern Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola here to the south, and Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Not a good situation. It was trending a little bit further east, and that was impacting more in Puerto Rico. Still a decent amount of rain there, but nothing like this core here that I think some areas could actually get up to the 20-inch mark. So you're talking about up to 1 to maybe even 2 feet of rain to fall, and a lot of that could fall out in the ocean, but that's something that they really have to keep an eye on, especially since it is hanging out for so many days, even though the heavier bands are going to be just offshore. So just wanted to really share that with you. Big time storm system. Those are the sneaky type of tropical storms and hurricanes that are much worse than they may look on paper. 7-day forecast, as you can see here, locally close to home, not much really to mention. We are actually looking at the sunniest days over the next few. It's today, tomorrow, and Friday. All of those are going to be either perfectly wall-to-wall sunshine or at most maybe just a couple of clouds or mainly upper-level clouds on Friday. By the weekend, we're increasing that cloud cover, but look where our temperatures are going, mid to the upper 60s. So even the 70s are about to disappear. Not saying we're not going to get back there, but by the last day of October, we averaged 68 degrees. We're there on Saturday. We're not there really for the next 10 days because once you get to the lower 60s on Monday and Tuesday, you're dealing with constant rain chances, constant clouds. That's going to lock our highs really in the upper 50s to the lower 60s. So it's also going to be a colder rain. So even though you don't see it, it's just outside of this. Wednesday and Thursday look to be some of the better chance for rain. But as of right now, fingers crossed, hopefully it doesn't change. And I can show you this coming up in the next half hour. Halloween is trending to be dry. So hopefully at least that is going to verify for the long term. In the short term, let's get right over to traffic. Good morning, Majestic. What do people need to know?
Good morning, everyone. Well, you know it's busy out there at 7:52 if you're heading out the door anytime soon. We're going to break down a few accidents for you this morning. Want to start with this gorgeous live shot, though. This is I-77 at 277 overlooking beautiful uptown. That sun is shining bright. Feeling pretty good outside as well, but of course we have our own set of issues when we're looking at my traffic map. Let's take you north of Charlotte. I want to talk about I-77. All of this red inbound, not a good sign. This is out towards Troutman where one lane is currently blocked. Because of a crash here, it's going to be at exit 42. Keep this one in mind because not too far away from it, we now have an additional crash. I'm following 3 crashes all on I-77, all north of Charlotte, not too far from one another. This is the second one here where another lane is blocked because of that crash. Still southbound lanes, that's exit 35. And then just to the south of it again, this is exit 33. Bottom line, if you're taking I-77 all the way from Troutman all the way into really the Charlotte area, this is going to be slow moving. I'm not saying that it's completely blocked off or anything like that, but we do have 1 to 2 lanes that'll be blocked because of this crash, because of those 3 crashes. And just to keep in mind that this one has 2 lanes that are blocked. Again, I-77, they're at exit 33. So it's going to be a slow morning for that morning commute. And then in addition to that, I have been watching this one for you where we also have another lane blocked. It's going to be on West Boulevard, eastbound lanes at I-485. We'll keep you up to date with the very latest, but for now, we're going to send things over to Larry with today's Tiny Town.
Hi, this is Larry Sprinkle. It's Wednesday, time for today's Tiny Town, and it is Gold Hill, North Carolina, over in Rowan County, not too far from China Grove there along Interstate 85, well to the southeast of there. Population 372, 2.51 square miles area, and Gold Hill is known for, yes, its gold, which was actually discovered there back in 1824. Extensive mining began in 1843. Actually creating a boomtown. Copper was mined there until 1907. Gold discovered, it was worth about $6 million at that time. In today's money, that'd be over $196 million worth of gold. And by the way, here's a picture of a hotel in downtown Gold Hill back in the 1840s, where the population at that time was about 18,000. So lost a lot of population. Gold Hill, North Carolina, that's today's Tiny Town. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
Live pictures right now over sunrise over Charlotte. Keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Another check of your forecast and traffic next.
Well, good morning, everybody. We have a decent amount of sunshine out there. We've already hit our low. So the low temperature, it's in the rearview mirror. Forget about it. We have 53 degrees right around Morganton and then 49 for you in Statesville. Today, not a cloud in the sky. I'm talking about wall-to-wall sunshine, and most of you might have a gust getting up to about 20 miles per hour. So it is a moderate breeze on and off, which actually is chilly because it's out of the northwest if you're not in the sunshine. If you're in direct sunshine, sunshine makes you feel at least 10 degrees warmer. It's significant. If you're standing in the shade, it's still sweatshirt weather. Trust me with that breeze. And that could also make you feel a little bit cooler. So even though we're getting into the lower 70s, still could feel like the upper 60s from those stronger gusts here and there. 7-day forecast showing that we have a lot going on. By the way, Hornets home opener officially is tonight. Great weather for that heading towards the Spectrum Center. And then through the weekend, increasing clouds, but next rain chance middle of next week. Majestic, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Want to take you up to I-77. This is right around mile marker 20. We have traffic that is going to be moving very slowly for that morning commute. Grab those sunglasses. You're going to need them. Here's the deal. We're following 3 active crashes on I-77. This one is significant, though. It's going to be out towards Troutman, where 1 lane is currently blocked. It's going to be at exit 42. I'll have more on this on WCNC Plus.
streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Autumn Bracey in for Lisa Washington. Today marked 60 days since the tragic stabbing of Irina Zarutska on Charlotte's light rail. And now Republican leaders in the city are demanding more accountability on what they are calling a public safety crisis.
That's right. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane now live along the light rail in South End, explaining what changes they are hoping to see. Richard, fill us in.
Yeah, good morning, Ben. Good morning, Autumn. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Yeah, we're right here off of the light rail. You can hear it behind me. They say that there needs to be more accountability from city leaders. They say that they need this because not just the light rail is not safe for folks in the Queen City. They're also saying folks just throughout this area in the city are not safe. They say it's been 2 months since the stabbing death of 23-year-old Irina Zarutska on a Charlotte light rail blue line. And today, those Republican leaders are demanding answers from the city officials about what they call a growing public safety crisis. They met last month and called for accountability. They're doing that again today. This time they'll be at the government center marking, I should say, 60 days since the murder. Many leaders and community advocates will stand together calling for accountability from city leaders and a tougher action to fight crime. They point to what they describe as a wave of violence across Charlotte, including the recent death of 4-year-old Jace Edwards. The group wants more support for CMPD. They also want stricter prosecution for violent offenders. They also want a review of justice reforms that they believe have made the city less safe. They said last month that they also plan to emphasize that the victims of violence come from all parts of the Queen City, saying public safety should be a right for everyone, regardless of neighborhood or background.
For accountability in local government, we need to be looking at how magistrates are appointed and what kind of accountability they have for allowing violent criminals back on the street.
They're weak on crime policies. Their open door and revolving door policies in our criminal justice system and jails have allowed murderers back on the streets time and time again.
And they say that's what they want to get to stop. They plan to have this news conference. We'll be there. We'll tell you everything that they say, both here and, of course, inside of our mobile app. We're right here in the south end of Charlotte. It's Richard Devane. Send it back to you.
Richard, do we know how they and others reconcile the idea that CMPD came out with those numbers last week that said violence has actually gone down in the city, even though despite that, it certainly doesn't feel that way among a lot of people?
Yeah, we talked last week when those numbers came out that we talked about the fact that it was what people perceive or the reality of the fact. And it seems that a lot of times we'd say Charlotte is a safer city, but almost immediately we had more than 5 people shot. We had 4 people killed over the weekend. So the violent crime that Charlotte says is actually going down, the CMPD says is going down. These folks who are holding this news conference, they will point to the fact that even after that announcement, crime seems to continue to be something that a lot of folks don't feel safe about.
All right, Richard Devane reporting live for us there in South End. Richard, thank you. Approaching 8:04 right now. Turning back to your forecast. Here's Chris.
Thanks a lot, Ben. So all in all, it is going to be a great day today. We're now tracking temperatures that are warming up either side of 50 degrees right now. Cool spot right now. Lincoln, you're at 43 degrees, 51s throughout Wadesboro and Rockingham. And we're going to be on the way up to the lower 70s for the afternoon, but nothing compared to yesterday. Yesterday was definitely the big day as far as our last maybe potential shot at 80 degrees. And I'm not saying that we're not going to get back there. Just in the short term, it doesn't look good. So check this out. Look where temperatures are trending. The lower to the mid-70s over the next couple of days, then smack dab right at 70 degrees. That means we're mainly in the 60s for your Friday, and then each day gets cooler until Tuesday, where you have a high of 60 degrees. Only a high of 60 degrees, and we're stuck in the lower 60s. Now, note, during this time frame, we should be averaging anywhere from 71 to 68 degrees for our high temperature. Meanwhile, our lows averaging anywhere from 44 to 49 degrees. That's pretty much where we are. We're back to 44 by tomorrow, and then we have the lower 40s in between, and then even 40 degrees to start off Halloween. So pretty spooky cool. We are looking at our chances for rain to really escalate, I would say next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But this is a complex system. This is truly all over the place of exactly what we're going to see from this. I'm seeing our first band of rain and what we're really first starting to track heading into your Sunday. So check out what that looks like. We have one little low that is down towards the south that'll start to sneak in, I would say, Sunday evening to the overnight hours. So that means most of your Sunday, say if you're going to the Panthers game, it's a home game, it's a big one, we're expecting clouds to increase, so it might even turn overcast throughout the day. But any rain that we see will be really late on Sunday heading into Monday, and then it'll start to push out as this low exits out to sea. The bigger, more long-range system is a secondary low that moves in right behind it. That's mainly impacting late Tuesday heading into Wednesday and could hover around. Now, this one's trending. It's a little bit further off towards the south, but you have not just one, but two low-pressure systems that we're tracking on the back end of the forecast, even outside of the 7-day. So, yeah, I think that there still could be a lot of changes. So just kind of keep that in mind overall. So a quick recap of today. We're looking at high temperatures in the lower 70s, feeling great. Could have an occasional gust up 20 miles per hour. Still same range for your Thursday. These are the sunniest days, and then the back end, those clouds start to increase through the weekend, turning cloudy for Monday, and then there it is. Highs only in the lower 60s with some chillier lows going forward. So enjoy the warmer and sunnier days while we have them. Let's get rid of Majestic for a check of our morning commute to kick off the 8 o'clock hour.
Good Wednesday morning, everyone. It's a beautiful start to the day, isn't it? We have sunny skies. You can see it here in some of our traffic cameras. I-77, this is in South Carolina. Definitely a busy time of the day. 8:06 now. Time to get going out on those roads. If that's you, if you have some place to be, there are some trouble spots to let you know about. Look at how pretty this is, though. This is I-77, gorgeous Lake Norman right here. You can see some of those trees really changing colors nicely as well. Let's get to those accidents, though, because it's a busy one this morning, especially on I-77 in areas north of Charlotte. So this area here where we have all this red, one lane is blocked because of a crash. It's going to be impacting southbound lanes. This is exit 42. You can see this is going to be I-77 out towards Troutman. And then in addition to that, in another crash here, another lane blocked because of it. It's going to be again on I-77 southbound, but this time at exit 35. Previously, we did have 3 active crashes on I-77. Right now, we're down to 2. One lane still blocked right here. It's on West Boulevard eastbound at I-485. Seeing minimal impacts there. It's actually getting a little bit better each time that I look at it, so it's probably clearing at this point. But then we have an additional crash, a newer one here. It's on Quail Hollow Road, northbound near Sharon Road. So there was a lot going on this morning. I want to wrap it up with this, where we're following Old Statesfield Road, where the crash is now impacting both directions at Hendrick Way. You can see that red there. So mainly those inbound lanes will be at a stop and go. We'll have more on your traffic report coming up here shortly.
A North Carolina congresswoman now speaking out against the state's redistricting plan. Republicans moved to redraw congressional districts Tuesday, potentially shifting North Carolina to 11 Republicans and 3 Democrats in the U.S. House. District 1, which is held by Democrat Don Davis in the eastern part of the state, would lean more Republican now. Republicans only need a simple majority to redraw the maps in the General Assembly, which they have, and the governor can't veto it. Last night, Congresswoman Alma Adams and others spoke out.
So you're not just targeting a Democratic member, that's obvious, and he is black, you must know that. You're trying to dismantle the district with the largest record of black congressional leadership in North Carolina history. And that's just not right.
If approved, this would go into effect for the midterm elections next year. New this morning, Charlotte's historic Excelsior Club is now one step closer to reopening. The Mecklenburg County Board of Commissioners approving the $1.5 million redevelopment plan of the iconic black culture spot. The board voting 7-2 in a meeting last night, part of a $7.8 million transformation that was presented last month. The renovated space would house a museum, host live performances, and serve as a restaurant that hires people facing employment barriers. Excelsior has been empty for 8 years now after serving as a cornerstone of Charlotte's music scene.
As we go to break, here's an exclusive shopping deal for our viewers.
Hey, you know our team tests tons of products. We get rid of the rejects, only bring you the best. And this one, pay attention. This is super important today. This is the product right here. It's Halt. It's a firefighting spray foam. Did you know there are 358,000 house fires in the U.S. every year? 50% of them in the kitchen. And this is prime time. We're getting into the holiday season. Chance of fire goes way up. So we're about to start a fire in here to show you how this product works. Because think about it. If there were a fire in your house right now, do you know where your fire extinguisher is? Be honest, I bet you don't. And by the way, even when you find it, it's huge, it's bulky. Have you ever used it? You gotta pull the pin when seconds matter. So this thing, look how much smaller it is, right? This is like a can of Spam. Keep it right in the kitchen. I'm gonna start a fire here and show you how it works. Okay, so there we go, it's going. All you do is you pop this little cap off here and you spray it and boom, look at that. Gets the fire right. This works on grease fires. They say it works on any kind of fire. Some fire departments are even using this in their tanker trucks now. Safe for kids, safe for pets, non-toxic. Also, by the way, they have a fire blanket. It's great for grills, even protecting yourself. They have a passport protector, a document protector. Today, you can get up to 37% off. We got you that discount because this is so important. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to shoptvdeals.com.
Well, it's a tragedy and a miracle at sea. A captain sadly passed away after his boat capsized in North Carolina's Oregon Inlet while it was making its journey from the Jersey Shore to Florida.
Ted Greenberg shows us how it all unfolded and how his mate was able to survive thanks to a bottle of detergent.
Devastating. The fishing community is a very small community. Everybody knows everybody.
They had docked for the night at Canyon Club Marina just outside Cape May, but hours later, the Moonstruck capsized, taking the life of its captain, Frank Hennigan Jr. of Glenmore, Chester County.
From the day I met him, he loved everything about boats and fishing, and our son's name is Fisher.
The 50-foot sport fishing boat was bound from the Jersey Shore to Florida when it flipped Saturday afternoon in North Carolina's Oregon Inlet. Both Hennigan and the boat's mate, Taylor Flannery of Point Pleasant Borough, were thrown overboard. Authorities say Flannery emptied a detergent bottle to help him stay afloat before finding a life jacket. The Coast Guard pulled him from the water.
It's amazing that he had the wherewithal in that
terrible, traumatic moment to think of the best way to survive.
Stephanie Lee lives next door to Flannery. He suffered a foot injury and is back home in Ocean County, but said he's too distraught to talk about the accident. He and Hennigan were taking the Moonstruck south for its owner. Officials say the boat was operating on 3 of its 4 engines at the time of the mishap. They say neither man on board was wearing a life jacket.
He has driven boats all over the world. There's not a person, as far as I'm concerned, that's more qualified than him to be driving a boat.
Hennigan was a husband and father of 3. An online fundraiser for the family has already raised more than $100,000.
His passion was the water, but I will tell you, when he was on a trip, he couldn't wait to get back to Mary and the kids.
I'll tell you what, the sea is unforgiving, even for experienced, boaters like that.
It is. Our thoughts are with his family. Well, when we come back, we're going to take another look at your traffic and weather. Stay with us on WCNC Plus. Well, winter is still a couple of months away, but some folks might need extra warm coats and blankets this year. AccuWeather forecasters say the season could bring some intense winter storms to several regions, especially the Midwest and Northeast. Cities like Boston and Philadelphia are expected to see more snow than usual. And in the Southeast, it's a different story. Temperatures could hit record level highs while the winter season officially starts December 21st. The meteorological winter begins December 1st.
Yeah, I try to avoid it.
Meteorological, I don't even like saying it, and I
Right?
have to.
Weather stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. December 1st is where we start keeping our winter records. So that's why this forecast that you're about to see here is from the Climate Prediction Center, backing up exactly what you said, Autumn, that we could have even some record highs during the wintertime. But really what this is illustrating is that we have about a 30 to even a 50% chance for above average temperatures. That would mean more above average compared to below average temperatures. That's just a percentage, that's just a chance, but it is favoring more of a warmer winter. And it's not even just about the La Nina and the El Nino Enzo cycle. It's really just about how climate change has warmed things up in recent years. Same thing goes for the opposite side for precipitation, more so to the north. is where we're expecting vast majority, I think, of our winter storms. So the Midwest really set to be slammed. That usually happens during a La Nina winter, but this is showing anywhere from 30 to a 50% chance of staying drier, less snow. So during a La Nina pattern, what happens is it's below normal 3-month temperatures right around the equator west of South America. So you have this conjoining pattern of the Pacific jet and the polar jet that really intervene just north of us. That's why we're so dry, because we're not getting that moisture transport. But then this is a feeding of colder air from the north. This is a perfect setup for more of a wet environment right across the Midwest, and that could span a little bit further west. So I think we're going to have a lot of Alberta Clipper systems, and it's right in here that I think it has the highest risk for ice storms as well. Even though we're in the more favorable side of things, it's really the El Nino pattern that really keeps us on the cooler and wetter side and a better chance for widespread snow. So one last thing I want to mention, right now we're not even La Nina, but we are forecasted to be there. Once we get 0.5 degrees Celsius below zero, that's where you're expecting to be official La Nina. And I think that we are going to get there. And previous La Nina snowfalls haven't been all that great. You've seen some 4 inches, trace, 6 inches. All in all, it has been a little bit more of a less compared to the big snowstorms that typically happen during El Nino. But hey, it only takes just one, that one big one that can make all the difference. Well, we're still in fall, so let's see how it's looking on this fall morning for our morning commute with Majestic.
Good morning, everyone. At least it's beautiful. Yes, traffic is busy. We would expect that. It's 8:21, but it's always a little better when we're waking up to some sunshine, right? This is I-85 here at Statesville Ave. You can see lots of people out on those area roadways, 51 degrees. Let's get to my map. We're following a lot of ongoing wrecks this morning. Still want to give you an update here on I-77. We've been following these accidents. This one has since been cleared by exit 42, the one out towards Troutman. That's good news here, but this one is still ongoing. It's going to be one lane blocked because of a crash, I-77 at exit 35.
Thanks, Majestic. Well, a 5-year-old boy in Arizona is showing compassion beyond his years. He's on a mission to collect toys for children in foster care. Trisha Hendrick shares the story behind his effort and how he's making a difference in other people's lives.
When I was a baby, I had the little phone what was for playing for a baby.
Toys are something that mean a lot to 5-year-old Eduardo.
And I had a little pumpkin for me to play with.
When he was just 3.5 years old, he came up with a special idea.
I was collecting my Batman toys and moved on to Transformers.
But his mom Victoria says they weren't all for him.
He wanted to collect toys for his friends.
Eduardo, who was adopted as a baby, wanted these brand new toys to go to foster kids.
The toy drive is for the kids who don't have toys.
It's Eduardo's Kindness Toy Drive.
Right now, Eduardo's collecting money and new toys to put together kindness backpacks that include a backpack, blanket, and a toy or soft stuffed animal. All for his friends in foster care to call their own.
Both of my kiddos are from foster care, and we just noticed that a lot of their foster friends didn't have, basically toys or the basic needs, especially when they're going home.
Victoria remembers the day Eduardo first arrived at 10 days old.
Eduardo came to us at our door with a trash bag and 2 bottles, and his caseworker said, hey, his last feeding was at 3 o'clock and his next feeding is this, and basically that's it.
And it was a similar situation with Eduardo's little sister. With such limited resources provided for foster kids,
just having him understand our friends don't have what he has was really warming to me.
Knowing these toys will go to kids in need means so much, all because of a 5-year-old little boy's human kindness.
That's the message that I want him to have always.
They started this year's toy drive once again last month, and they plan to keep collecting new toys and money to go toward even more toys through the end of November.
Last year we collected about 150, but there's about 400 friends that are at that agency.
Victoria wants the kids receiving these toys to know they're thought about.
And that they belong and, they're important.
So far, Eduardo's raised $300 toward his $450 goal. He has a shout out to those who have donated.
Thanks for all your donations.
In Iowa, elementary school students there kicking off fall with some new shoes. A local credit union gave every student at one elementary school a brand new pair of shoes and socks, part of the credit union's Kicks initiative. First Gateway Credit Union says a well-fitting pair of shoes can boost self-esteem and attendance, and the students are showing their appreciation.
They feel really nice, and I think this was a good idea because it's just if like kids don't have good shoes and they need some, this is just a really good idea.
First Gateway Credit Union now in the process of choosing another school to give free school shoes to. All right, live pictures right now over Uptown. As we take a break, keep it right here on WCNC Plus.
Gorgeous sunny skies. Welcome to it. Right around 50 degrees, close to the Charlotte area in Monroe. Meanwhile, Boone, you're over at 44 degrees. 73 is going to be our high today, so that's about a 6-degree downgrade from a high that was almost near 80 degrees yesterday. Wall-to-wall sunshine. Enjoy the day. Should be perfectly clear, and occasionally could have a gust up to about 20 miles per hour. Also, game time. We have the Hornets home opener by about 5 p.m., couple hours before the game, 70 degrees, and then once you're getting out of the Spectrum Center, temperatures likely in the mid-50s, so maybe you want to be wearing the Hornets sweatshirt at that point. 44 tonight. It's going to get a lot chillier, lower 40s heading through the weekend, and you can anticipate temperatures to get cooler each and every afternoon. Highs only around 60 degrees, a chance for rain next Tuesday. Majestic, take it away.
It's a beautiful Wednesday out there. Heading out the door, maybe you are gearing up to head off to work this morning. Grab those sunglasses, grab a jacket, and call it good. Here's I-77, South Carolina. Good morning to you. Looking all right. I-85 there at Statesville Ave is also flowing just smooth for you. Drive times, they're basically spot on, about 60 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia. We do have those slowdowns on I-85 there. And then you can see a handful of ongoing wrecks. You can see this one here could be quite impactful. One lane is blocked because of a crash on West Boulevard at I-485.
Well, thanks for joining us live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Autumn Bracey, in for Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. We continue to follow breaking news update this morning. A homicide investigation underway right now in Catawba County. Deputies tell us they were responding to a welfare check at a home on Swinging Bridge Road Tuesday. They say that's when they discovered signs of foul play, but didn't find anybody inside the home. Well, deputies tell us they later found the resident's body, but in Caldwell County. Police ask anybody with information in the case to call the number there on your screen. Right now, we're also working to learn more about a deadly accident in Northeast Charlotte. Medic tells us someone died last night after being hit by a vehicle on Harris Houston Road. Still unclear what led up to that crash.
A Gastonia Police K-9 is getting some well-deserved praise this morning. Officers say Corporal Canopy and his K-9 partner Bando were called to a domestic disturbance on Betty Street Monday when the suspect, Brandon Philbeck, took off running. Police say he already had several outstanding warrants. Bando tracked him to a wooded area and helped officers make that arrest in just a few minutes. The department later shouted out Bando on Facebook, calling it a job well done.
Today, the debate over merging Catawba County's 3 public school systems comes to Hickory.
County leaders say it's about planning for growth, but some districts argue this proposal overlooks real cost and changing enrollment trends. Our WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live in Catawba County with more on the response to this plan. Destiny.
Good morning. Catawba County Commissioners are considering whether to combine its 3 school systems into one. And the county says this is about growth and space, but 2 of the districts involved say this is not the whole story. Now, Catawba County leaders say student numbers are climbing fast in Catawba County schools, while enrollment has been declining in Hickory City and Newton Conover City schools. That's why commissioners are holding 4 community meetings this month to talk about school facilities and the possibility of a merger. But both city districts are pushing back. Hickory City Schools warns a merger could cost millions in technology upgrades, legal fees, and rebranding, and could reduce local control. Newton Conover says the county's enrollment data is outdated, pointing out its numbers have stabilized for 2 years in a row and are already ahead of long-term growth projections. Tonight's meeting on this issue runs from 6 to 8 at the Hickory Metro Convention Center. It's the second of 4 county sessions meant to gather public input. The next meetings are tomorrow in Terrell and next Tuesday in Conover. Now, county leaders say this is very early in the process. They're still exploring options, and there's no official decision on whether this merger will actually move forward. I'll send it back to you guys live here from Catawba County.
Thanks, Destiny. And as these merger talks continue, what are some of the steps forward that Hickory and Newton Conover district leaders are taking?
Yeah, we know that right now they're just trying to pass information along to families. They really want them to be informed about any of this merger information that they're getting from the county. They want them to attend these meetings so that they're well informed. They want to make sure they pass on this information to their neighbors as well out in the community. But more than anything, district leaders say they are open to the possibility of discussions around how to solve student growth and capacity at schools, but they believe that a merger is not the solution to explore right now.
All right, Destiny Richards reporting live for us this morning. Destiny, thank you. 8:34 right now here on WCNC Plus. Stream back to your forecast with Chris. And Chris, you got some visibility issues out there or no?
No, everything's good to go. I just had this before because Majestic raised our weather IQ on our visibilities and just on fog in general. This is just actually shouldn't be here, so that's showing that everything is good to go. And our Louisville camera, we actually did see a little bit of valley fog, but that is now past and gone. And our WCNC tower cam, we are looking at a beautiful blue sky off yonder in the distance. This is the way the day is going to look for the entirety of today, just wall-to-wall sunshine, not a cloud in the sky. Well, at least the way things are trending. 44 degrees is what we have around Lincolnton. 44 is the same temperature over in Boone. So either side of 50 degrees is the best way to plant across our area. But all in all, we are all coming together into the lower 70s. But one thing to note, these numbers right here are the real feel. I should turn these blue because they're actually a little bit on the cooler side instead of a heat index. So that means it actually feels more like 68 when it's 72. So keep that in mind with winds out of the northwest. We'll have a slight effect of the drier air air and the wind, especially overnight tonight. But the winds are getting a little bit lighter. That's maximizing our cool down. We're back down to about 44 degrees overnight tonight, which, by the way, is the coldest temperature we've hit so far this fall. But I'm standing in the way of the main event. 42, 41, 42. That means some areas surrounding Charlotte will drop barely down into the upper 30s for the first time. We're avoiding frost, but we're getting closer and closer to that frost point. Really, it can be 38 degrees and you can have a frosty start if everything is perfectly still. Our rain chances going forward, we are dry through Sunday. Don't worry about that. But we have a big question mark. What's happening Sunday night, heading into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This is not just one front that passes by. This is our first legitimate rain chance we've had in a while, and Ben mentioned this earlier, we desperately need the rain. So you can see this come up. I think it's really Tuesday, Wednesday, and the first half of your Thursday. This looks to be the best timing for everything, but it's a complex forecast that usually we won't show you too much detail outside of the 7-day forecast because the probability of it happening is on the iffy side, but we can look at trends. It's all about what pieces are on the board, and these are the pieces that are on the board right now in the short term. Nothing happening right away. We have a high pressure system, but we have one low pressure system. Technically, it's called a mid-latitude cyclone. That's just a fancy term for a low, a warm front, and a cold front. That pushes in late Sunday, heading into Monday. So that's round one of rain. Now, I think we hit a little bit of a break, and then another system starts to work its way back in for your Wednesday heading into Thursday, and it should be clear just in time for Halloween, but it leaves some cooler air behind it. So as of right now, over the next 10 days, the coldest temperature I have is 40 degrees for a low, and that is physically on Halloween morning. Of course, those temperatures will start to trend different directions and shift, but our 7-day forecast, which is very sports-oriented because we got a lot going on this week, from the Hornets home opener to the first playoff game for Charlotte FC in the background. But all you need to know is each and every afternoon gets chillier. Tomorrow is pretty much a carbon copy of what we have today, but then after that, 70, 68, 65. And that 60-degree point, if we have rain, is actually more like the 50s with a cold rain. So not something that you like, so it could be definitely on the cool, dreary, and damp side if you go on that Charlotte FC match. But of course, we'll keep you updated as things may change. Let's see what's changed in traffic. Anything, Majestic?
We have new accidents that we got to talk about, so let's get to it. The one steady thing is that the weather's beautiful no matter where you're waking up this morning. We are all waking up to gorgeous clear skies, sunshine. It's going to be a nice morning commute for you. At least we're waking up to sunny conditions. However, those roads are very jam-packed now at this time. If you're coming in from Matthews, just over 30 minutes. It's going to take you a little while, though, if you're coming in from Belmont, because we are seeing those delays now starting to build on I-85. A handful of ongoing wrecks, so really just take it easy as you're heading out the door. It's very busy out there. One lane is currently blocked because of a crash. It's on West Boulevard, impacting eastbound lanes at I-485. This is just south of Berry Hill. And then as we zoom it out, you can see if you're making that commute from York County into Mecklenburg County, that's I-77. We do have our delays, which we know always happen this time of the day, but thankfully no new accidents on I-77 at this time. I want to take you out here because this is one of our newer crashes. It's on Lancaster Highway at Adriel Road. We are seeing some of that orange develop, meaning that cars are impacted here, moving a little slower. And then Ray Road at Shadow Pond Lane. Some minimal impacts, but mainly if you're going to be heading northbound there. And then let's take it back home a little closer to Uptown. We're following this ongoing crash here at Kelworth Lane. We're going to continue to follow that Kenilworth Ave, actually there at Moorhead Street. So keep this in mind. It seems like all directions are being delayed on this one. I'm going to see if I can learn more about that coming up in just a few minutes, and if I do, I'll be sure to let you know. Guys.
Majestic, thanks. The Fort Mill School District taking steps to reassure families about air quality. This comes after months of concerns with two schools sitting just miles from this Silfab solar plant.
Officials are now giving their first detailed look at the district's own testing results, and it plans to keep students safe. WCNC Charlotte's Tradisha Woodard has more on why officials are saying the air is safe.
Well, the district brought in Citadel EHS, an environmental health and safety firm, to conduct baseline testing on both school campuses. They say the results show both schools are safe and healthy for staff and students.
I'm here as a concerned parent and a resident of Fort Mill.
Dozens of parents listening closely, yearning for an answer to the question that's hung over this community for months. Is the air quality at their schools safe?
Please answer that question for me.
Fort Mill School District says
yes.
The district brought in Citadel EHS, an independent environmental health and safety firm, to test the air around Flint Hill Elementary and middle schools, both less than 2 miles from the Silfab solar plant.
We monitored air quality before and after school occupancy.
According to the district, their results showing the air is safe to breathe.
The monitoring confirmed the school's air quality is safe and healthy for the occupants, with no increased risk identified from the neighboring solar manufacturing facility.
While Citadel found no increased risk or impact from the neighboring manufacturing facility, not everyone left the meeting feeling relieved.
The core question goes back to zoning, and they don't want to answer questions about zoning.
I got time.
Dozens of folks still expressing their concerns.
Who is willing to take responsibility if the worst case scenario happens?
City leaders say the meeting was about transparency and facts, but for some families, it was about finding a peace of mind that still hasn't come.
We also didn't hear about any of the calibration of Silfab's emergency plans with the district. We could have a catastrophic event that we're not prepared for.
For now, officials say they have put together a plan to continue to monitor data, which also includes another round of sampling when Silfab starts up. Back to you.
Thank you, Tradisha. Well, South Carolina health officials are confirming 4 new measles cases in Spartanburg County. That brings the state's total to 23 this year. Of those, 20 are connected to the current outbreak in the upstate. According to the state's Department of Public Health, 2 of the new cases were among people who were quarantining due to prior exposure to known cases. Officials also say quarantining measures have been effective in preventing additional spread.
Big news for Charlotte's job market. A major financial tech company expanding here in the Queen City, bringing hundreds of high-paying jobs with it. The governor announced SoFi Technologies will create 200 new jobs, invest $3 million in Mecklenburg County. The company helps millions of users manage money, loans, and investments all in one app. Officials say this expansion really strengthens Charlotte's position as the nation's second largest banking hub, with new roles for loan officers, underwriters, and sales teams.
Well, coming up, Majestic Storm will be breaking down the mystery of fog, what it really is, and why fall is the perfect season for it here in the Carolinas. We'll be right back in a few minutes. All right, well, whether you've woken up to a foggy morning or been driving late at night when visibility suddenly drops, we've all experienced fog.
That's right, but this morning, WCNC meteorologist Majestic Storm explains what fog really is and why fall is the perfect season for it in the Carolinas in this morning's Weather IQ.
Did you know that there are 6 different types of fog that can form year-round? Fall is when it's most common across the Carolinas, so let's raise your weather IQ and start with understanding what fog really is. Simply put, fog is a cloud that meets the ground. And here are the 3 main ingredients for fog to form. Number 1, moisture from rain or a damp ground. Number 2, clear skies that allows the ground to cool overnight. And number 3, little to no wind so fog can settle and build in place. Fog forms when water vapor in the air condenses into tiny water droplets near the ground, reducing visibility. That condensation happens when the air cools to its dew point, which is a temperature where the air becomes completely saturated with moisture. Radiation fog is the most common type across the Carolinas during fall. This specific type of fog often develops at night when the ground loses heat. When the surface cools, the air just above it does too, and when the temperature and dew point meet or get very close, fog forms. And if it rained the night before, that increases the chances of fog. That's because the wet ground adds moisture to the air, raising the dew point and making it easier for fog to develop. But of course, there's a catch. The wind also has to cooperate. Winds need to stay light, typically under 10 miles per hour, or else the air mixes too much and the fog breaks apart. And as beautiful as fog can be, it can also be very dangerous out on the roads. If there's fog when you're on the road, drive slowly, use low beam headlights, and keep a safe distance between you and the car in front of you. The good news is radiation fog doesn't stick around for long. Usually by mid-morning, once the sun comes up, it'll warm the ground and the air just above it, mixing out the fog and clearing out the view. With your Weather IQ, I'm meteorologist Majestic Storm.
Great job, Majestic. Well, happy to say no fog this morning, but coming up, I'll let you know if there is any fog in the forecast, but of course, if there's any rain that could lead to fog the following days. I'll let you know my full forecast. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. We always enjoy you joining us here on WCNC Plus. I'm standing on a mountain, metaphorically and physically. Well, not physically, I'm in front of a green screen. But a gorgeous shot right here from our resort cams on top of Beach Mountain. And to think a few months from now, we're going to be seeing this all covered in white, but not yet. We're not there yet. We're focusing on fall, but you can see things are pretty brown up there past the peak fall foliage wise. However, the peak fall foliage is this week and this weekend for Blowing Rock, surrounding areas like Banner Elk. So make sure to go up there this weekend if you have not already or you had planned to do so. Either side of 50 degrees, likely we're going to see about a 5 to 7 degree warm up once we get the new temperature update for the 9 o'clock hour. But look at the difference for the Morganton area. It is 18 degrees warmer compared to this time yesterday. 12 degrees warmer for you in Waysboro, and Salisbury, you're 13 degrees warmer than what you had on the 21st. 73 is our high today. It is a cooler day. Yesterday we were close to 80 degrees. Some of us did just tap on that 80 degree moment, but it was 79 for a high right around the Charlotte area. We stayed dry for the most part. There was a trace for rain for some areas, a few sprinkles, but today, wall-to-wall sunshine. Don't worry about it. I'm also forecasting a wind. Hopefully, maybe it's just optimism, but 7 o'clock is the first Hornets home game, and you're going to expect 70 degrees, say if you're going to dinner a couple hours beforehand. Once you're getting out of the stadium, you have 56 degrees, so maybe the Hornets sweatshirt is a good idea. Our future cast, nothing. I'm literally, you can see the clock moving. There's a passing cloud there. Oh, Friday, a few upper level clouds. Aha, on Saturday, we start to see some more clouds roll in. So all in all, this is the best part of the forecast, the sweet spot as we like to call it. Because after this, it's getting cooler each and every day, and our lows are going to get much cooler as well. So a low temperature right around 49 is actually fantastic compared to a low around 40 to 42, which we have for a majority of the days, or at least half. 44 is going to be our low right when the sun is rising up by tomorrow, sunrise time, right around 7:36. Our low temperatures hit their bottom really on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the near term, and then we should return to that same range for the last day of the month, aka Halloween, and begin the month of November, which, by the way, we average a low of 44 degrees on Halloween and 68 degrees for a high. We are below that. Right now, Halloween is trending to be dry, but each and every day is getting chillier. So what are we going to do? We're going to enjoy the warmer days while we have it, because after that, the 60s become the most popular range compared to the 70s. But again, today, tomorrow, and Friday are by far the best days over the next 7. That is your weather report. Let's get right over to Majestic for one final look here on WCNC Plus of traffic.
Let's do it. Good morning, guys. 8:52 this morning. It is a beauty out there. Queen City looking nice. I-77, not so much because it is moving quite slowly. It's 51 degrees though, but at least we have all that sun shining through. Still a handful of problems as we are taking a look at my traffic map. Still want to give you a couple updates. This one is still active. One lane blocked because of a crash. It's on West Boulevard eastbound at I-485. Again, that's just south of Berry Hill there. As we zoom it out, I want to give you also an update on I-77. If you're coming in from York County, really once you hit Mecklenburg County, that slowdown will be on again, especially for I-77 inbound, but nothing we're not used to this time of the day. Want to take a look at this crash. This is a new one on Ray Road at Shadow Pond Lane, seeing mainly green with it, so probably very minimal impacts there. However, a little closer to Uptown, keep this one in mind. A busy spot this time of the day at Moorhead Street and Kenilworth Ave there. That's where we do have a current crash. Once we're taking it a little closer to I-77, you can see that red and orange there. That's going to be slow moving, but that's just your typical congestion. And then inbound lanes on Independence, no crash here, just a lot of people all heading in the same direction. So that's what I'm watching for now. A few things you should know before you head out the door. We'll have another check all coming up here in a little while. Autumn.
Thanks, Majestic. Well, there's a new trend taking over TikTok, and it's all about being in Group 7. You may not have heard about it, but users are posting videos and comments claiming to be a part of this mysterious group with no extra explanation. Now, it all started with 26-year-old singer Sophia James, who posted a series of videos last week. By the 4th video, she started labeling the clips and the fans who came across them in groups. And the 7th video, well, it went viral. It racked up over 25 million views. And now TikTokers are joking and celebrating about being a part of this special group, which many say is elite. It's so elite, I haven't heard about it.
I hadn't heard about it either.
That's how elite it is. You know, I made a pact with myself.
What, Ben?
10 years ago.
Okay.
After Facebook and then Twitter and then Instagram and Snapchat, I finally said, okay, whatever comes after this, I'm not doing it. So, and I've kept that.
Okay.
So anything that happens on TikTok, I have no idea because
I don't have TikTok. I don't have TikTok. I'm
I
not
drew
either.
the line. I was like, I'm not going to devote any more time to social media.
Yeah.
But now I don't know what these things are. I don't know what Group 7 is.
I think I'm okay with that.
They're elite.
That's one thing we know for sure. They're elite.
Well, the good news is a lot of the TikTokers have now moved over to Instagram Reels for a lot of that stuff. So everything's starting to kind of blend over, except for the elite groups.
I just want one that merges into all.
That would be so convenient.
It sure would, but it's not happening.
No, I know.
Like
right? All right, live pictures right now inside our live Impact Stream studio. Jane Monreal, bottom left. She's getting ready to take over from there. All the breaking news as it happens right here on WCNC Plus.
Good morning, good morning. 73 degrees is going to be our high for today, and it feels great out there right now. Mainly rocking the mid-50s for the most recent update, and then sunshine galore. How you look in the background is what we're going to have across the day today. No clouds really expected. 44 degrees tonight, and then after that, the lower 40s. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning all set to be the chilliest mornings that we've had so far this season. 7-day forecast, a lot of sports icons. We have the home opener for the Hornets. We, of course, have the Checkers, the 49ers, the Panthers are in town. No rain up until then. The rain chances really start Sunday night to Monday. Better chances for rain and a cooler forecast on Tuesday, where Charlotte FC has its first game of the playoffs. But boy, we're feeling a lot chillier and fall-like the middle of next week. Majestic, what's going on?
Good morning, everyone. Let's get to it. If you're heading out the door, there's a quick look at some of those drive times. Make sure you plan accordingly because we are in the thick of things just before 9 o'clock this morning. I'll tell you one thing, though. It's a beautiful start for your morning commute. A whole lot of sunshine. You'll want to grab those sunglasses. Yes, still a handful of ongoing wrecks. This one is just south of Berry Hill. One lane currently blocked because of a crash. It's on West Boulevard eastbound at I-485. Also want to show you I-77 inbound from York County into Mecklenburg County. Of course, it's going to be slow moving. Make sure you travel safe, and I hope you have a great day.